Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel, Kavi Web Design. Today, we're going to continue with our JavaScript equals. Previously, we have learned about JavaScript let. Today, we're going to learn about JavaScript const. The const keyword was introduced in ES6 as you know. Variables defined with const cannot be redeclared, they also cannot be reassigned. And variables defined with const have a block scope, cannot be reassigned. A variable defined with const keyword cannot be assigned. So as you can see over here, we have in the body section over here, we have a header 2, a paragraph, and in the script tags here we have try. We are using the try keyword over here to execute these two. We're using the const keyword to declare a variable called pi, and we're giving it a value, and then we're trying to reassign pi with the value of 3.14, and then we're trying to catch if there's any error and display it in the paragraph which has the ID of demo. So let's look at this using Visual Studio Code. So as you can see over here, here's the same example from our PPT. So when we run this using Chrome, as you can see over here, we'll have a header, and in the empty paragraph, JavaScript will replace it with error. Type error assignment to const variable. As because, why is it a type error? As because we are trying to reassign pi value. So now let's go back to the PPT. Must be assigned. JavaScript const variables must be assigned when they are declared. So as you can see over here, we have a correct example where we are declaring a variable named pi using the const keyword, and we are giving it a value. But here's the incorrect example over here. So as you can see over here, we're using the const keyword and declaring a variable called pi, but we have never assigned it a value. After that, then we are assigning it a value of 3.14 blah blah blah. So JavaScript will give this as incorrect as because variables declared with const must be assigned. So you may ask when to use JavaScript const. You should always declare a variable with const when you know that the variable should not change. You should use const to declare a new array, a new object, a new function, a new regexp. Constant objects and arrays. The const keyword is a little misleading. It does not define a constant value. It defines a constant reference to a value. Because of this, you cannot reassign a constant value, reassign a constant array, reassign a constant object. But you can change the elements of a constant array, or you can change the properties of a constant array. Constant arrays. You can change the elements of constant arrays. So as you can see over here in the body, we have a header 2, a paragraph, we have some content inside, another paragraph with the ID of demo. And in the script tags over here, we have written a comment where it says create an array. So over here, we're using the const keyword to say that this variable should not change. So we are giving const the value of array. So now const is an array indicated with the square brackets. So in the array, we have 3 elements. So sab is 1, Volvo is 1, and BMW is 1. And then we are changing the element over here. So the const 0, which is sab, we're changing it to Toyota. And then we are adding an element using the dot notation. And we are using a new function over here, dot push. And then it will add a new element called Aldi. And then we're displaying the array in the element which has the ID of demo. So now let's look at this using Visual Studio Code. So now as you can see over here we have an example from the PPT where we have a header 2, a paragraph, another paragraph with the ID of demo. So here we're changing an element using the bracket notation, which is where we are finding an element using brackets. So and then we are adding another element using call.push method. And then we are pushing the maximum limit of the object to hold 4 elements. And then we are adding the element of Audi. So we can add as many as we want. So let me just copy paste this and then give it different names such as X, Y, and Z. So and then we are displaying it and then we are using document.getElementById method, and we are displaying the array over here. So when we run this using Chrome, as you can see over here, we have our header 2, our paragraph, and then in the empty paragraph, JavaScript has replaced it with the array. So we have Toyota, which we have replaced it, and then Volvo, BMW, and the Audi, X, Y, and Z cars we have added. So, but you can change these variables too. So after we declare them, we're gonna copy these two and then we paste them over here. So now we have these two over here. Now we're gonna change the element of x to, so the value, the placement of x is 4. But you'll see that I'm wrong. As you can see over here, clearly it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how is it 4? As you see here, the first element in the array is always, its placement value is always 0. So it will start like this. So it will start from 0, 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, like that. So 0 will actually be a placement in the array. So that's why it's gonna be 5. So now let's run this using Google Chrome. So now as you can see over here, how we have a header or paragraph. We have a Toyota which was changed, and then Volvo, BMW, Audi, and then we have our A. Instead of X, we have A over here. So now let's go back to the PPT. But you cannot reassign the array. So as you can see over here, in the body section, we have a header, a paragraph with the ID of demo, and in the script tags below, we are declaring an array using the const keyword, and the array is named cars. And then we have written SAP, Volvo, and BMW. And then we are reassigning cars as Toyota, Volvo, and Audi. And then we're trying to catch if there's any error and display it in the HTML element which has the ID of demo. So let's look at this using Visual Studio Code. So now as you can see over here, we have a header 2, a paragraph with the ID of demo. And in the script tags below, we are using the try keyword, and then if we are catching if there's any error and then displaying it. So as you can see over here, we're trying to reassign the cost value, while over here we are declaring using const. So let's run it using Chrome. So now as you can see over here, we have a header, a paragraph, and in the empty paragraph, JavaScript has replaced it with a type error assignment to const variable. So now what happens if we replace it with let? So let's try. And then when we run this, as you can see over here, the empty paragraph will be empty because there is no error. So now let's try to display the array. And then now let's run it using Visual Studio Code. So as you can see over here, we have a header or paragraph, and then we have used the let keyword, so JavaScript didn't give a reference error. It gave us the array as Toyota, Volvo, and Audi. Because when we use const, you cannot reassign it. But when we use let, you can reassign any variable you have written using let keyword. So now let's go back to the PPT. Constant objects. You can change the property of constant object. So as you can see over here, in the body section, we have a heading 2, a paragraph with the ID of demo, and then over in the script tags here, we have which is saying create an object, where we're creating an object named car using curly braces and indicating it using curly braces. We're given a type as flat, model as 500, color as white, and then we're changing a property called color red. And then we're adding another property, car.owner Johnson, and then we're displaying the property, the car is car.owner in the ID of demo, which is over here. So let's look at this using Visual Studio Code. So now as you can see over here, we have the example from our PPT, where we're declaring an object using the const keyword, and then we're giving it some properties such as type, flat, model 500, color as white. And we're changing the property car.color as red. We're adding a property as car.owner Johnson, and then we're displaying the property using the document.getElementById method. Then it will go into the body section over here and search to individual elements. If this H2 has the ID of demo, then it will replace the content inside to whatever is right here, but it doesn't. So you go to the next thing. This paragraph has the ID of demo, so no. Then it will go to the next one. This paragraph has the ID of demo, so yes, so it has the ID of demo. So then it will replace it with whatever we write over here. So we have written a string called car.owner, and then note over here we have written an individual space. So this will act as a space between over here and over here. So now let's run this using Chrome. So now as you can see over here, we have a heading to our paragraph, and then the paragraph which had the ID of demo is now replaced with con owner is Johnson. So now let's go back to the PPT. So now as you can see over here, so we have learned that we can change the properties of a constant object. but you cannot reassign the object. So as you can see over here, in the body section, we have a header 2, a paragraph with the ID of demo, and in the script tags below, we are using the try keyword, and then over here we have declared a object called car using the const keyword, and we are indicating it is an object using the curly braces. We are given 3 properties over here: type as, and then its value is flat, model as 500, and color as white. And then we're trying to reassign the car object. So we are given type as Volvo, model as EX60, and then color as red. And then we're trying to catch if there's any error and display in the ID of demo. So now let's go to Visual Studio Code to get a better visualization. So now when we run this code using Visual Studio Code in Chrome, of course, and we'll get a heading 2 or paragraph, and in the empty paragraph over here we'll get a type error, assignment to const variable. So let's get a closer look. As you know, the const keyword cannot be reassigned, so anything you write with const you will not be able to reassign with, so it will obviously give an error, and then we're trying to catch that error and display it over here. So as you can see, when we write let keyword and then when we run it using Chrome, you will see that we'll have a header, our paragraph, and in the empty paragraph will stay empty because there is no error. So now let's go back to the PPT. So you may ask, what is the difference between var, let, and const? So as you can see over here, here is a table of the differences. Where it doesn't have a scope, it can be redeclared, it can be reassigned, it can be hosted, and it binds to this. Where it has a scope, it cannot be redeclared, it can be reassigned, it cannot be hosted, and it does not bind to this. Const has a scope, it cannot be redeclared, nor reassigned, nor hosted, or nor it binds to this. So you may ask, what is good, what is not good? So as you can see over here, let and const have a block scope, which is good. Let and const cannot be redeclared, which is also good, as because we don't want way too much trouble with redeclaring the variables. Let and const must be declared before use, which is supposed to be a good practice with also where. Let and const do not bind to this, and let and const are not hosted. So you may ask, what is not good then? Where does not have to be declared, where is hosted, where binds to this. So the where variable is very bad to use in JavaScript. So you may ask, what browsers support let and const keywords? The let and const keywords are not supported in the Internet Explorer 11 or earlier. The following table defines the first browser version with full support. So if you're using Chrome, then if you have Chrome 49 or above, you have support for let and const keywords. If you're using Edge 12 or above, then you will have full support for let and const keywords. So as for Firefox 36, Safari 11, and Opera 36. Block scope. Declaring a block scope with const is similar to let. When it comes to block scope, the x variable declared in the block in this example is not the same as x declared outside the block. So as you can see over here, here's the example where we have a header 2, a paragraph, and then in the script tags, we are declaring a variable using the const keyword and naming it x, and then we are giving it the value of 10. And then we are opening curly brackets over here, and then we are declaring another name variable using const keyword and giving it the value of x. So if you know block scope, over here and x over here and x over here are completely different variables, and we are giving it the value of 2. So if x is 2 over here, it will still be 10 or in the global scope, as because here is a block scope and global scopes are greater than block scopes. And then we're in the script tags below, we're using the const keyword and declaring a variable named x and giving it the value of 10. And then we are opening up curly brackets, and we are declared another variable named x using the same keyword const and giving it the value of 2. So if you know what's block scope, x over here and x over here are completely different variables. And then we're using the document.getElementById method. We're getting the ID of demo, which is in this paragraph over here. And then we're using the inner.html method, and we're adding a string plus the variable value of x. Let's look at this using Visual Studio Code. So now as you can see over here, here's the same example as in the PPT. So let's run this to see what happens. So as you can see over here, we have a header, and in the empty paragraph, JavaScript has replaced it to the string x is 10. So let's look at what is happening over here. As you can see, we have declared a variable named x using the const keyword and named it 10. And over here, we have opened up curly brackets, and we have declared another name variable also named x, and using the const keyword, we have given it the value of 2. And then but still in the global scope, x is 10, as because here is a block scope and here is a global scope. Let's cut this script over here and paste it over here to see what happens. So when we run this using Chrome now, as you can see, JavaScript const variables we have our heading. Now JavaScript has replaced the empty paragraph to x is 2, as because now this script over here is in the block scope and not in the global scope. So now let's go back to the PPT. Redeclaring a JavaScript variable is allowed anywhere in the program. So as you can see over here, we are using the where keyword and redeclaring as many times as you want. But redeclaring a existing where or let variable to const in the same scope is not allowed. So as you can see over here, we're using the where keyword and we're saying x equals 2. Then we're using a const keyword and also saying x is 2. So the first one is allowed, but the second one is not allowed. And so is in block scopes. Reassigning an existing const variable in the same scope is not allowed. So as you can see over here, we declare x equals 2 using the const keyword. And then we're redeclaring it using multiple methods. Like automatic, we're declaring it automatically x equals 2. We're using the where keyword, let keyword, and the const keyword. So the first one, const x equals 2 is allowed, but as you can see over here, we are reassigning the variable x to 2 and again. So JavaScript will give an error for all of these, and so is in the block scope. Redeclaring a variable with const in another scope or in another block is allowed. So as you can see over here, we declared a variable named x using the const keyword and given it the value of 2. Then we are open up curly brackets. So then here we are declared another variable named x using the const keyword and given it the value of 3. This is allowed as because this x variable over here and this x variable over here are not in the same scope. And then we have close the curly brackets and open up another curly bracket where we have given const x equals 4. This is allowed as because this scope over here, as x over here in this scope and x in this scope are totally different. Hoisting. Variables defined with where are hosted to the top and can be initialized at any time. Meaning you can use the variable before it's declared. So as you can see over here, we are header 2, a paragraph, and then a paragraph which is empty and has the ID of demo. And then in the script tags over here, we have given a variable called car name and given it the value of Volvo. So as you can see over here, we have never declared it using any keyword. As you know, there are 4 ways to declare a variable. So and one of them is automatically. But after use, we're saying where car name. So now after usage, we are declaring it using the where keyword. So now let's look at this using Visual Studio Code. So as you can see over here, we have declared a variable named car name and we are given it the value of Volvo. So and then using the document.getElement by ID method, we are getting the ID of paragraph, we are getting the ID of demo which is in this paragraph and replacing the content to the value of car name. And then we are declaring the car name using where. So you may think that this will give an error, right? Wrong. It will not give an error as because where can be hosted. So JavaScript hosting. So we have a heading, a paragraph, and then over here in the empty paragraph, JavaScript has replaced it to Volvo. So now let's go back to the PPT. Variables defined with const are also hosted to the top, but not initialized. Meaning using a const variable before it is declared will result in a reference error. So as you can see over here, in the body tag, we have a h2, a paragraph which has the ID of demo, which has no content inside, and then we're using the try keyword to try alert car name, and then before we are alerting, but we have never declared it on the top. As you know, any code will go from top to bottom. So as you can see, we are using the alert function to alert the user about the car name variable. So and then we are declaring the car name variable using Volvo, and then we are trying to catch if there's any error and display it in the paragraph ID of demo. So let's look at this using Visual Studio Code. So now as you can see over here, when we run it using Chrome, as you can see, JavaScript hosting, we have our heading to our paragraph, and then in the paragraph, JavaScript has given an error as reference error, cannot access car name before initialization. So, but when we place it on the top of the alert, and then when we run it, as you can see, the alert keyword will alert us with Volvo, and then as you can see, the empty paragraph is gone as because there's nothing to display in that paragraph. So folks, that's it for today. So if you like this video and want to support us, please like, share, subscribe to our channel Kavi Web Designs, and keep on watching our videos. And have a nice day. Bye bye.